Imagine living in a country that talks about freedom every day, but you wake up each morning with one quiet fear in your heart. What if one day the government says you do not belong here and must leave? For many Muslims in the United States, this fear is not just a headline or a news clip. It is part of their daily life. They hear speeches about law and order, border security, and extreme vetting. And they wonder if those words will one day mean that their families are separated, their businesses are closed, or their lives are turned upside down. In this video, we're going to walk through 12 U.S. states with the largest Muslim populations and look at how deportation policies, immigration raids, and harsh political language affect real people. Stay with this story until the very end. Because what is happening to Muslim families today says a lot about what kind of country the United States is becoming. Watch carefully, think deeply, and decide what kind of future you want to see. Before we start, remember this. We are not just talking about numbers or cold legal terms. We are talking about parents who worked for years to build a home, children who grew up saying the Pledge of Allegiance in school, and students who dream of a better future. Many of them are citizens. Many are legal residents. Some are refugees or asylum seekers. Some are still waiting for papers. But all of them live under the same sky and walk the same streets as everyone else. When the government talks about deportation, raids, bans, and keeping people out, these communities listen very closely. They know that one knock on the door, one letter in the mail, or one change in policy can change everything. Stay with me, because each state we visit will show you a different side of this struggle. Number 12, Georgia. Georgia enters this list with a growing Muslim community, especially in and around Atlanta. Many Muslims here are from African countries, South Asia, and the Middle East. They run small shops, drive taxis, study at universities, and send their children to local schools. On the surface, life looks normal. People go to work, attend Friday prayers, and gather at mosques for community events. But just underneath this normal life, there is a quiet fear. Immigration raids and detentions have touched many families in this state. Some have seen uncles or cousins taken into custody because of expired visas or small legal mistakes in their paperwork. Others live with the fear that one traffic stop or one visit from an officer could lead to questions about their status. In some neighborhoods, people hesitate to open the door if someone knocks late at night, even when it is just a delivery or a neighbor. In Georgia, debates about immigration often mix with debates about religion. When politicians demand stricter rules on migrants from certain regions, many Muslims feel that they are being pointed at without being named. At the same time, building new mosques has sometimes faced strong opposition. Some families feel like they are always having to prove they are peaceful, loyal, and good enough to stay. The message that many Muslims hear is this: you are welcome as long as you stay quiet and cause no trouble. But if something goes wrong, deportation is always there like a shadow. For young people, this creates a painful question. Can they really plan for their future in a place where the right to stay never feels fully safe? Number 11, Florida. Florida is famous for its beaches, theme parks, and warm weather. But it is also home to a significant Muslim population living in cities like Miami, Orlando, and Tampa. Here you can find mosques near busy highways, halal restaurants and shopping plazas, and Muslim families enjoying parks and beaches like everyone else. Many came to Florida with big hopes, to study, to start a business, to raise children in a place with opportunity. But over the years, the political climate has shifted. After national events, people in Florida have seen harsh speeches, protests, and proposed laws that mention Sharia and foreign laws, and that treat Muslim culture as a threat that must be controlled or watched. When politicians speak strongly about deporting dangerous foreigners or radical elements, many ordinary Muslim families feel that those words are pointed at them, even if they have never broken any law. There have been cases where immigration officers visited workplaces or neighborhoods, and even when people were not taken, the fear spread like a wave. Parents warn their children not to talk too openly about their immigration status, even to friends. Some people avoid public gatherings or protests, afraid their names could end up in some file. At schools, simple requests for prayer rooms or respectful treatment during Ramadan are sometimes met with suspicion. As if normal religious practice were a political statement, in such an environment, the idea of deportation is not just a distant policy. It feels like a weapon that could be used at any time against those who are seen as too different. Number 10, North Carolina. North Carolina has seen steady growth in its Muslim population, especially in cities like Charlotte, Raleigh, and Durham. Many Muslims here are students, health workers, engineers, small business owners, and refugees who came to escape war and start again. They bring with them strong family ties, a deep sense of faith, and a desire to contribute. But the memory of the years after the attacks of September 11th still hangs over this state. In that time, many mosques and Muslim student groups felt the pressure of surveillance and extra questioning. Some leaders were watched. Some communities felt that every sermon and every gathering might be observed. When a community is treated as a possible threat, it makes every immigration case feel heavier. People who entered on student visas or temporary work permits worry about small mistakes on forms, delayed documents, or missing signatures. They know that deportation does not always come because of a crime. Sometimes it comes because a paper was late or a rule was misunderstood. Families that have lived in North Carolina for years feel split between roots and uncertainty. They build lives, buy homes, and watch their children grow up with Southern accents. Yet they keep hearing about plans to clean up the immigration system and to send people back. They do not fit perfectly into every rule. In this climate, wearing a hijab, speaking Arabic, or attending a mosque can feel like carrying a sign that says, "Inspect me," especially when political debates link national security with Muslim identity. Number 9, Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, especially in cities like Philadelphia and Pittsburgh, the Muslim community has played a strong role in local life. There are African American Muslims who have lived in this country for generations, immigrants from South Asia and Africa, and refugees who have rebuilt their lives here. Mosques are not only places of prayer, but also centers for food drives, youth programs, and educational help. Yet even with all this visible contribution, many Muslims in Pennsylvania know people who have faced detention or deportation. Some came as refugees, and then later saw rules change under new policies. Others had family members denied entry when they tried to visit from abroad. Immigration officers in Pennsylvania, like in many states, have carried out raids at homes, workplaces, and even near schools or community centers. When such events happen, the news spreads quickly through WhatsApp groups, phone calls, and mosque announcements. Families warn each other to carry their documents, to be careful, to know their rights. But fear still grows, because power is not equal. The government can hold someone in detention for months, while cases move slowly through the courts. For children, hearing that a parent or an uncle was taken is not just emotionally reshapes their entire sense of safety. They start to ask simple but heartbreaking questions. Can we stay here? Will my mom or dad disappear one day? And when these fears are linked not only to legal status but also to being Muslim, it leaves deep scars that may last for years. Number 8, Virginia. Northern Virginia has become one of the most important centers of Muslim life in the United States. Cities like Alexandria and Arlington are full of families from Ethiopia, Pakistan, the Middle East, and many other places. Many work in government offices, tech companies, hospitals, and universities. Some are citizens, others green card holders, and many still live on various visas. After the travel ban on several Muslim-majority countries, Virginia became a major site of protests. Families rushed to airports to meet relatives who were suddenly blocked or delayed. Lawyers set up tables at arrival halls to help those who were being questioned or turned away. The fear was simple and powerful. If the government can block people from even entering, what will it do to those who are already here but do not yet have full citizenship? In this environment, the word deportation takes on a wide meaning. It is not just about those who crossed a border without documents. It is about anyone whose status can be questioned or changed with the stroke of a pen. People who have lived for years in Virginia, paid taxes, and obeyed the law still worried that one policy change could erase their right to stay. For Muslims, this fear is tied to religion as well as nationality, because the ban and many speeches in support of it pointed directly at Muslim-majority countries. Even those from countries not on the list felt the message: your presence here can be taken away if enough people decide that you are a risk. This creates a constant tension where people love their neighborhoods and jobs, yet never fully relax about their place in the country they call home. Number 7. Maryland. Maryland has one of the highest percentages of Muslims in the country. With many living in and around Baltimore and the suburbs near Washington, D.C., you can feel their presence in daily life. Women in hijab taking buses to work, children attending weekend Quran classes, families gathering in parks after Eid prayers. Some school districts have added Islamic holidays to the calendar, and there have been efforts to make public spaces more welcoming to different faiths. These steps send a positive message. You are seen, you are part of us. But at the same time, debates over foreign law, Sharia, and protecting American values have shaken trust. Proposals to block the use of foreign legal models in courts, even when they have no real impact on daily cases, are often read as symbolic attacks on Islam. For Muslim immigrants whose legal status depends on careful paperwork, good behavior, and clean records, this atmosphere adds one more layer of fear. They know that deportation can follow even small legal problems, especially if the public mood grows more hostile. When a group is painted, even indirectly, as a possible threat to the legal system, it becomes easier for some people to accept harsh measures against them. For example, if a father misses a meeting with immigration officers, or if a mother's asylum application is denied, there is less sympathy if the public already sees their community as not really fitting in. This is how big political talk at the state level can slowly feed into the daily risk of deportation for ordinary people. When fear replaces neighborly trust, it becomes much easier for a country to send people away without asking what it does to their families and to its own soul. Number 6. Michigan. Michigan is often the first state people think of when they hear about Muslims in America, especially because of the well-known city of Dearborn. Here, Arab restaurants, markets with Arabic signs, and mosques with tall minarets are part of the landscape. Many families have lived here for decades. Some arrived as auto workers, others as refugees, and many as small business owners. Children grow up speaking both English and Arabic, watching local sports teams, and going to American schools. On one level, their lives are deeply American. But for many, especially those who are not yet citizens, the fear of deportation is never fully gone. When the travel ban targeted several Muslim-majority countries, a wave of shock hit Michigan. Families were suddenly cut off from relatives who were supposed to visit, study, or join them. Some students found themselves stuck outside the country, unsure if they could return to their homes and studies. In this context, the idea that the government will deport them feels less like a dramatic title and more like an ever-present question. People know stories of families where one member was taken, sometimes after a simple visit to an immigration office or a court hearing. Others have seen friends picked up after minor legal issues that would not attract such attention for citizens. The result is a constant low-level stress that shapes daily life. Parents think twice before traveling. Young people worry about what might happen if they are stopped by police. Community leaders must balance between speaking out about injustice and avoiding actions that could draw unwanted resistance from authorities. Michigan shows us both the beauty of a strong Muslim community and the deep fear that grows when immigration rules are tight and public suspicion is high. Number 5. Texas. Texas is big in land, in culture, and in diversity. And that includes a large Muslim community centered in cities like Houston, Dallas, and Austin. In these places, you can find Pakistani grocery stores, Turkish bakeries, West African mosques, and Iraqi or Syrian refugee families rebuilding their lives. Many Muslims in Texas run gas stations, repair shops, dental offices, or tech companies. They live next door to families of many different backgrounds, share school sports fields, and join in local events. But Texas has also been a state where strong talk about borders and deportations is common in politics. When leaders promise to clean up illegal immigration or protect Texans from dangerous outsiders, The image that some people form in their minds often includes Muslims, even if they are not the main group being discussed. In some Texas cities, raids by immigration officers have created waves of fear. People have seen co-workers taken after surprise visits at factories or workplaces. Others know families who left the state on their own because they were tired of living under constant pressure. For those who are Muslim, this fear can be doubled by the way Islam is sometimes linked to security threats. When a violent act happens anywhere in the country and the suspect has a Muslim name, many Muslims in Texas brace themselves for a rise in suspicion and calls for tougher measures. Even those with full legal status feel the emotional weight of these moments. They ask themselves whether their children will be judged not as Texans, but as possible outsiders who can be pushed out if the mood turns against them. In this tension, the idea of deportation is not only a legal risk, but also a symbol of rejection, a sign that no matter how much they give, they may still be seen as guests who can be told to leave. Number 4, New Jersey. New Jersey has one of the highest percentages of Muslims in the country, especially in cities like Paterson and Newark. Here, mosques stand near churches and shops selling Middle Eastern foods line busy streets. Families from Pakistan, Bangladesh, Turkey, Egypt, and many African countries have turned older neighborhoods into lively centers of culture and faith. Many work as doctors, taxi drivers, shopkeepers, and office workers. They pay taxes and send their children to local schools. Yet they also live with concern about how fast things can change if immigration rules grow harsher. Proposals to ban Sharia law in state courts may not change daily life directly, but they send a clear message. Some people in positions of power see Muslim beliefs as something to be feared or controlled. When that mindset spreads, it can affect immigration cases and public reactions to deportation. If a Muslim family in New Jersey faces removal because of a visa issue, some may quietly think they should not have been here anyway, even when the family has lived peacefully for years. When new mosques face zoning battles, it adds to the feeling that Muslim presence is tolerated but not fully welcomed. In this atmosphere, deportation becomes one more tool that can be used to shrink a community that some people never wanted to grow in the first place. For Muslims in New Jersey, every hearing, every letter from immigration services, and every change in federal policy can feel like a judgment on whether they are allowed to be part of the state's story or not. Number 3, Illinois. Illinois, especially the Chicago area, is home to one of the largest and most diverse Muslim communities in the United States. Here you find old, established mosques that have served families for generations, as well as new centers built by recent immigrants. Muslims in Illinois include doctors, shop owners, drivers, teachers, and many young students. They join interfaith events, charity programs, and local politics. Yet Illinois has also seen long-term surveillance programs aimed at Muslims, especially after national crises. When mosques, bookstores, and student groups feel watched, it changes how people move and speak. Some avoid certain topics in public or stay away from protests because they fear that being visible could make them a target if deportation policies tighten. Immigration officers in this state, like others, have the power to detain people and begin removal procedures based on visa problems, criminal charges, or failed asylum claims. For Muslims, there is an added fear that their religion can make their cases more sensitive. Even if the law is written in neutral language, the way it is applied can be shaped by human bias and political pressure. If the public sees Muslims as a risky group, it becomes easier for harsh deportation actions to happen without much resistance. Illinois shows how a community can be strong, organized, and deeply rooted, yet still feel the constant pressure of policies that can separate families, close doors, and send people back to places they fled years ago. Number 2, California. California is known for its mix of cultures, languages, and religions. The Muslim community here is spread across cities like Los Angeles, San Diego, and the Bay Area. Many are students, tech workers, doctors, drivers, or small business owners. They live under palm trees and freeways, in dense city apartments and quiet suburbs. Some came as refugees from wars in Iraq, Afghanistan, or Somalia. Others arrived as students from South Asia or the Middle East and later started families. Public talk in California often celebrates diversity, but that does not mean Muslims are safe from fear. Travel bans, increased vetting, and talk of extreme measures against migrants have all had strong effects here. People worry that visiting family overseas might lead to problems when they try to return. Some delay trips, others cancel them entirely because they fear being stuck outside the country, California. It's also seen attacks on mosques and hateful messages against Muslims. When people feel that the public is against them, deportation becomes more than a legal question. It becomes a symbol of rejection, a way for society to tell them that they are not truly part of the we and national slogans. Even in a state that often presents itself as welcoming, there are cases where immigration officers detain people and start removal procedures with little warning. For young Muslims, this creates a painful mix of feelings. They grow up loving the only country they know, while watching older relatives worry about one day being told to leave it. The dream of California as a land of open doors is tested when those doors can be closed so quickly on those who look or pray a certain way. Number 1. New York. New York has the largest Muslim population in the country, and its story shows the deepest mix of hope and fear. In this state, especially in New York City, Muslims from almost every part of the world live side by side. You hear Arabic, Bengali, Urdu, Turkish, Somali, and many other languages on the streets. Halal carts line sidewalks. Mosques fill with worshippers for Friday prayers. Students with Muslim names attend some of the best schools and universities. Many are citizens. Many are green card holders. Others have temporary protection or are still struggling with their immigration cases. For all of them, the memory of secret police surveillance of Muslim communities is still fresh. When people learned that mosques, student groups, and even restaurants were being watched simply because they were linked to Islam, it cut deep into trust in a place that calls itself a home for immigrants. The idea that the government might treat you as a suspect first and a human being second is a heavy burden. For those who do not yet have secure status, deportation becomes a constant worry. It is not just about being sent out of the country. It is about losing the city that shaped them, the streets they know, and the friends and family they love. New York is a symbol of the American dream. But for many Muslims, it is also a place that reminds them how quickly that dream can be shaken by fear, suspicion, and harsh policy. The question that rises from this state and from all the others is simple but urgent. Will the country choose to deport its neighbors, or will it choose to understand them? As you reach the end of this journey through 12 states, you have seen a pattern. Muslims in America are not just numbers on a chart. They are workers, parents, students, and neighbors who live with the same hopes as anyone else: safety, stability, and a chance to build a better future. Yet many of them live under a cloud, always aware that the government holds the power to separate their families and send them away. Deportation is not just a legal act. It is a message about who belongs and who does not. The way a country treats its most vulnerable communities says more about its soul than any promise, written on a monument or printed on a coin. The choice between fear and dignity, between suspicion and welcome, is not only made in courts or offices, it is also made in the hearts of ordinary people who decide whether to stand with their neighbors or to turn away. If this story has moved you, do not let it end here. Think about what you have heard. Ask yourself what kind of society you want to live in, how you can treat those who are different from you with fairness and respect. Share this video with someone who needs to hear another side of the story. Leave your thoughts in the comments and listen to the experiences of others. And if you want to follow more deep and honest conversations like this, make sure to subscribe, stay connected, and join the next journey. Your voice, your view, and your heart matter more than you think.